That's weird.
Gray card. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Bad Flashes. Today, maybe more specifically this entire month, as the year comes to a smashing close, I've been in a pretty sentimental mood. And most of you are probably thinking, Caleb, I didn't even know you had a sentimental mode. I thought you existed somewhere between cracked out and forgetting your meds. To be fair, you're pretty spot on, but every once in a while on a block eclipsed moon, I get a little tingle in my heart and my pants. But that second one is called Christmas draining my wallet. I think mostly it has to do with the rapid approaching New Year. It kind of makes people introspective, as well as people looking into the New Year's crystal ball, hoping for more cameras and less diarrhea. All to the tune of the Mountain Goats song, This Year. And if you haven't heard that song, you should probably look it up. It's applicable every year, no matter the year. But I thought it would be a great time before the holidays to look back at some of my favorite photos I've taken this year. It's a nice little recap to bring in the new year of 2023. And maybe I'll learn something from examining some of my favorite photos I've taken and take those new lessons along with me into the new year. And before you click off this video because you might think you'll see some of the same photos or you're just not in the mood to see a grown man cry, I would just hold on because you might be surprised about the photos, not me crying. I can't promise anything. Okay, now to start off this list would be a photo of my sister. But it's actually not really just about my sister. No, she's just front and center here. It actually has more to do with the overall image. Now this photo comes from our family trip to Paso. And in the foreground, you'll see a bunch of things that my family is obsessed with. Coffee, obviously being one of them. You can see because of my espresso machine and grinder, and the numerous bags of coffee on the right-hand side of the frame. And of course, you have a bag in the middle with a bottle of wine. What more can I say? But if you look past my sister into the distance of this photo, you have my family in the background about to get ready for another outing. Really, I like this photo because it just reminds me of the time that we had up in Paso. And we were thinking about wine trip too, so you know something went right. Moving on, and a couple months later, I found myself in Joshua Tree once again. This time with a few new faces to get to know. Jason and I have been to Joshua Tree so many times in our photo lives together, almost to the point of heat exhaustion. So I knew I needed to switch up my perspective and do something a little different. So I borrowed Jason's 12mm Voigtlander to force my eye into a new way of thinking. This photo taken in Joshua Tree on Lomo Turquoise is the accumulation of a new perspective with both that 12mm lens and Lomo Turquoise working together.
Lomo turquoise, turquoise, turquoise.
But it's not just about this photo, because without that weekend hosted by the Darkroom and Beers and Camera, I wouldn't have got this image. And more importantly, I wouldn't have met new friends that had really shaped the rest of my experience this year. Photography. I just felt like singing.
Just two dudes taking photos together. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this pic right shot is the first time I shot gold in 120. And I really love the blues and the greens and the brown Christmas tree leaning up against this trash can. By the way, this was April, so someone was late taking down their decorations. This photo was actually going to be part of a video, but my Pentax X7 decided to just like, thanks Pentax, I can always count on you. What?
No thank you.
Now, one of those humans that I got to know during the BNC retreat was my buddy David. We ended up hitting it off very well. I'm not quite sure what that first spark was, but it just ignited. And 1 month later, he would find himself back in LA for a weekend trip. This image was taken on one of our sunset strolls together. I'm in love with this image for a few reasons. One, it was the first time I successfully zone focused on my Mamiya 7. Second, look at this composition. A man in the middle of the frame with the sunset light splitting his body in half. Come on. I shot this one from the hip too. This is damn good composition right here. Also, look at his pull. This photo I really like because the entire day I was out of my element while shooting. I suggest you give it a try. Get out of your comfort zone from time to time, even if you think it might give you a rash. Okay, well maybe not if it's a health hazard, but if it just expands your experience, go for it. See, I was on a first photo date with my new buddy Chris, who does a lot of street photography. And if you've seen this channel, you know I don't do a ton of street photography, but I was definitely grooving that day nonetheless. I really like the subject of these two old friends sitting together by the beach. Now, to be fair, I don't know if they're best friends. They could be on a first date too. But nonetheless, this photo can open up anyone's imagination. And that's what I really like about it.
Yeah, that's gonna be a banger.
Purple.
Now, when I was in Ohio for one of my visual effects gigs, I was able to meet up Trev from the darkroom. Even though I only had one day, I was able to capture this photo of him taking a dump. I mean, he was taking a photo in public. Only true friends can be vulnerable with each other. It's not every day that you get to see someone's shooting stance. I think I was able to capture his essence in all this 6'7" glory.
That photo squad.
Now, making our way into June of this year, Jason and I embarked on another trip up the 395 for one of our photo journeys. I feel like I got so many awesome shots on that trip. But the one that really fills my abandoned heart is this one of this lonely jacket. This shed was so intact compared to the rest of the houses around. The jacket was perfectly placed, waiting for its owner to come home, ready for another hard day's work. This whole find was so amazing, but this jacket begs so many questions, and I love that story aspect of it. At first, I wish I had color in my camera to show off the yellow nature of this jacket, but now that I'm thinking about it more, I'm actually really glad that it's black and white. It feels timeless now.
I'm gonna go see my brother in New York today. New York today. New York today.
Now, in July, I found myself in New Jersey for another gig, but the real photos find themselves when visiting my brother in New York City, along with my new friends David and Birgit, both who I met earlier this year from the Darkroom event. See, I told you that that event really shaped my life this year. But I love this photo of my brother. We were just coming back from a Beers and Camera event in New York City, and this photo really shows him in his element. He loves New York, and this photo is just so classically him. It was such a treat to get to hang out with him in his apartment and just chat all day. And to top it all off, it was really awesome to hang out with my new friends. New York City? You best believe I'm seeing you soon. Now, this year was full of weddings for me. I was in 2 and I attended 1. But this photo right here of some of my best friends is easily one of my favorites that I've taken. These are my dudes. We've known each other for so long and we've been through thick and thin together. I think it's just a wonderful encapsulation of the moments ahead. Are you crying yet? I just really like the composition of this shot and the colors in it. There's really nothing crazy here. And the funny thing is it came from a super random video of me pushing 2 stops with a heavy pro mist. So experiment, baby. I mean, it is my phone's wallpaper. Now, I really don't do engagement photos, and I don't actually take photos of people all that much often either. But every once in a while, I have a friend exploit my natural given photography talents to their benefit. And because I'm so humble and talented, I do accept their requests. And to be fair, these photos are pretty dope. This one taken on my M6 is probably my favorite from the session. These two are goofy as hell, and you can tell they're having so much fun. Honestly, I love these two people, and these photos were a blast to shoot. Other than falling backwards over a rock with my Mamiya 645 in my hand, bruising my ribs, giving me a slight concussion for the evening. Yeah, that happened.
Oh. Yeah.
What do you got?
This squat.
So good. So good.
Now, this photo came from my last video, so don't sue me. But this is one of those moments you have a split second to get that shot, and you do. I love this photo of Lauren and my sister walking towards our table. That light was slapping so hard, and this moment was wonderful to catch. We had so much fun that weekend, and out of all the photos taken, this one really encapsulates the feeling. And it also reminds me of barbecue.
Oh yeah, this is solid. Honestly, the only thing throwing it off is the fact I have a beard.
Now to top it all off as an honorable mention, I'll add this photo of Jason right here. Because he let me slap a wig on his head and take some photos of him.
You're like, why did I say yes to this?
Such an amazing friend. And as you can see, he is so happy to do so. Can't you tell? This year alone, I have taken 2,318 film photos. Believe it or not, that's kind of on brand for me. Except for last year, that was closer to 3,000, but I did do Route 66, so that helped inflate the numbers a little bit. Now, I know what you might be thinking. We're getting to the end of this video, and Caleb, bruh, you showed us quite a number of photos that were not your favorite, and you're right. But for me and my photography, my favorites don't just live in that one photo. It lives in all the photos that exist around that one. All those other exposures help to tell a story that gets up to my favorite photo. Sure, some of them are more clinical, like the composition or the colors. But the more that I think back to my favorite photos, they're telling a story of how I lived that year, and the things that I saw and the people that I loved, and the memories that were made. Images don't just live in a vacuum. They live in the stories as well. So next year, I can't wait to tell more of those stories. Damn, look who's crying now. I got you. I did. Or at very least, I got my mom to cry. And maybe a nod of approval from my dad. Well, I think next year I'm gonna try to take more pictures of the people around me. I think that's what I learned in this yearly recap. Let me know in the comments below what you learned from your photography this year and what you wanna expand on in the year 2023. Okay, well, that'll do it for me today. I'll see you later. Bye.